Hi, my name is Aaron Loy, and my group chose the company Tesla, so I'll be going over a quick overview of the company. Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. This is a shift from their previous statement, which was to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable transportation. This shows that Tesla is changing as a company and no longer just focused on transportation, but energy as a whole. They have several objectives. Their overarching objective is to educate, inspire, and to empower. This shows that Tesla is aware that they're going to have to educate the population to really inspire and empower them to make a difference in the world. For general environment, Derek will be talking about the political environment here in a few minutes, so I'll skip over that one. For legal, there's an opportunity to expand their patent protection internationally. Each territory requires different paperwork, so it's very time consuming. And then also, it's starting to become a threat is their direct sales approach. Tesla does directly sales to the consumer, cutting out the dealer, unlike other car manufacturers. This allows them to make more money by cutting out the middle person, but several states are pushing to get rid of this option and make them go through dealers. For economic, the biggest issue is battery costs. This is the main reason electric cars aren't affordable. Tesla is currently building a new factory that will decrease costs by an additional 35%, in addition to the already 80% they've achieved over the past 6 years. Socially, people are becoming more aware of the carbon footprint. A study shows that 45% of people are willing to cut out their favorite brand if it doesn't help lower their carbon footprint. This shows that people are increasingly preferring renewable energies over the traditional forms. Technology, Tesla has built their company on advanced technology. Their R&D budget is bigger than other car manufacturers. Based on ratio of R&D to revenues, Tesla stands at 17.7%, while other companies are only at 4%. Also, automation is the future of manufacturing. Tesla has made sure to design all their vehicles to be ready for robot automation, unlike other manufacturers who will have a lot of catching up to do. Ecologically, climate change is at the forefront of today's society. All over the world, governments and corporations are creating new standards to combat our effect on the world. Tesla, along with Solar City, is built around improving the world. Tesla has offered their patents to anyone for free that is willing to help work towards a more sustainable future. Competitive forces, threat of new entry and bargaining power of buyers are both low. It's very expensive to try to start a new car company, and with Tesla's direct sales, they don't allow any bargaining on the buyer's end. Threat of substitution and bargaining power of suppliers are both moderate. It's relatively easy to switch modes of transportation, whether you're going from vehicle to public transportation. Tesla requires a lot of technology, so requires a high level of reliability from the supplier's end. Then the car industry is exceedingly competitive. There's relatively a small number of firms all operating, and they're all highly aggressive, trying to get each person's buying power. Resources and performance. Some of the resources for tangible will be machinery, supercharged network, a little bit of inventory they carry, the current and fixed assets. Intangible would include things like intellectual property, goodwill, and the brand recognition they built. Performance-wise, in 2016, they turned a small profit after 14 straight quarters of losses. This profit was largely due to selling zero-emission credits in California. For a competitive advantage, Tesla has a supercharged network. These are fast charging stations for Tesla cars. They're in the process of doubling their network from 5 to 10,000 stations worldwide, and they're also increasing their destination networks, which are at resorts and restaurants, to 15,000. Tesla also has a first mover advantage. The company is literally founded on electric cars, while traditional manufacturers are having to split their focus between traditional cars and electric cars. Tesla only has to focus on the few electric cars they are producing. Next, Derek is going to go in more depth on the company and some alternatives.
Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Cooper, and I appreciate you let me take the time here to present on Tesla. It's nice to actually virtually meet you as well. I think Tesla is a very interesting company. I've learned a lot by researching, and very excited to kind of present on what I learned and what I found. So the agenda for this presentation is I'm going to go over some of the opportunities and issues that Tesla is going to be facing, kind of boil it down to a main problem, talk about some of the alternatives and the criteria and what they need to use to decide which alternative to to choose. So first, I want to talk about some of the opportunities that Tesla is going to be facing here shortly. The launch of the Model 3. So I think most of us, when we think of Tesla, we are familiar with the Model S, which is the high-end luxury car, sold, I think, base is around $60,000 up to $90,000 or $100,000. What's interesting is here shortly they're going to be launching the Model 3, which will actually compete with Toyota, Honda, Ford at that $35,000 price range. It's going to be more accessible, more affordable to majority of the people, which actually kind of like really exciting. You enter a whole new market, a whole new target audience. With that, you're also now competing with Toyota, Honda, Ford. The big guys out there. I'll kind of touch on that a little bit later, but it's a pretty good opportunity for Tesla. Another opportunity that's really interesting is the solar roof project. So this is a completely different industry, different market for them. They're able to build a roof that looks very similar to the roofs that we have today that has the shingles on it, that each shingle is actually a solar panel. Now this roof will be able to actually provide energy and power the entire home. So aesthetically, it's appealing, and then it also is able to power home, making it more sustainable energy. Very interesting concept. They're entering into new industry, new market, and there's a lot of potential for growth there. Some of the issues they're facing is the growing technology and being able to balance the balance sheet. What I mean by that is that, Tesla, there's a lot of technology that goes into their vehicles. And technology is constantly changing and constantly growing. It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of research and development to stay ahead of the curve. And what's interesting is that Tesla really only just started to turn a profit the last year or so. I don't think there's really any cause of concern for them that doesn't really mean much because they've been developing a lot of stuff. But they're, like I said, they're launching the Model 3. In order for them to be able to start producing those cars, they actually go out and do a round of fundraising and raise over $1 billion to help with that production. So there's that little cause of concern that as the technology changes, they're going to have to stay ahead of that curve, and they got to be conscious of their balance sheet and the money they have available. So there's that issue. Another issue is the uncertainty of the political climate. I wouldn't say this is a huge issue that they really got to worry about. But just with the new president, and just with any presidency change, you got to worry about what sort of bills, laws, and trade agreements they're going to enter into. With something with Tesla that's working with renewable energy, they got to be cognizant of what is going to be out there and what sort of changes are going to be made. And the last issue, I did list this as an opportunity. But another issue is the launch of Model 3. They spent a lot of money to develop this car, and they'll need a lot of money to produce, like I've said. And then there's the uncertainty of, will the market pay for it? Will they make a profit? And I'll touch a little bit on the profitability of that car here soon. But now they're having to compete with Honda, Ford, Toyota, the big boys, and it's a big risk that they're moving into this new market. So this is another issue that they got to be aware of. But really what this boils down to is being able to stay ahead of the technology. Tesla is much like Apple. Apple is, the golden standard. People are, other companies are constantly trying to replicate what they're doing. And so Apple has to stay ahead of the game, has to come out with the greatest and latest. Tesla has to do the same. And so, Tesla's got to stay ahead of that technology curve and got to be at the top. That's going to cost a lot of money to do that. And then, the other issue is the launch of the Model 3 and the solar roof. These are kind of pretty much, one's a new market and one's a whole new industry. If these things fall flat, Tesla could be in problem. They've spent a lot of money on these projects. If they don't succeed here, Tesla could be facing a lot of challenges. So we got to be able to address these problems and find alternatives or ways that we can, be successful in light of this problem. So I want to talk about two alternatives. not really alternatives per se. That there are ways that they can make some of their issues better, and find uh, a way to kind of uh, capitalize on some of the opportunities they have coming up. So the first alternative is under the Model 3. Experts actually believe that Tesla won't make a profit selling the car at the $35,000 base. That the break even's more around $41,000. Now they also believe that most people, when they buy the Tesla at $35,000 and through upgrades and stuff like that, they're going to get past that $41,000. Um, so under this alternative, it's more focused on that upsell and that extra options. In fact, in this past year, new car sales are right around $34,000, on average. So I think Tesla's pricing at $35,000 right at the right price, and so that's a good price for them. But they also, I think, they're entering this whole new market, and you got to think of the millennials. The millennials are concerned about alternative resources and energy, um, and they are starting, especially the older millennials, um, do have the buying power and the money to spend $35,000 on a car. And so, what Tesla needs to do is they need to focus on upselling extra options to try to push that base price past that $41,000 mark so they can make a profit. If they do that, then Tesla will be able to make profit on each car, and then they also will be able to capitalize on that whole new market they haven't been able to capture yet, selling the high end luxury vehicles. The next alternative is the solar roof project. I'll admit that this alternative is actually contingent on the solar roof being successful, but if it is, it's my idea, an alternative. Stay with me on this one. This is kind of out there, but it's kind of exciting if you think about it. Is move on to solar panel roads. What I mean by that is, if you really think about changing the whole infrastructure of the United States and changing all the roads to solar panel roads, it's kind of almost of an impossible task, maybe, something daunting that Tesla may not be able to do by themselves. But if they could figure out a way to produce solar panel road, there's a lot of possibilities there. Some of that could be being able to create heated roadways. So, and when it snows and there's ice, you can melt that off fairly easily and make the driving conditions safer. Or being able to show within the lane if there's an accident, or hey, if you're in this lane, it's going to take 5 minutes until you get to this next exit. Making a carpool lane, toll lanes, a lot smoother and easier transition. But in reality, what Tesla could do, and could actually make a Tesla lifestyle, is they could kind of incorporate that into the home buying experience. You're putting a Tesla roof on your home. You have a Tesla car in your garage, and you have a Tesla driveway that is solar powered, so that when your neighbor's out there shoveling the snow off the driveway, you don't have to worry about it because the snow's been melted from the solar power. That solar power can also help power your home, which the roof is doing. But let's say you got a pool. Let's say you got other things that driveway can help power. And there's the possibility of having not all the roads being solar panel, but maybe some. Maybe they build a toll road that's a Tesla solar powered road. So as the future evolves and self-driving cars are more prevalent, Tesla can capitalize on that and can make that experience a whole different experience for the consumer. Imagine the consumer wakes up in the morning, gets in, leaves his home that was powered by the Tesla roof, gets in his Tesla car, drives down the Tesla driveway on the Tesla toll road, and goes into work and has this experience with Tesla. They can create a lifestyle that can create consumers for life, and a lot of good possibilities and opportunities there for Tesla. But with any alternatives, that you have to have criteria to help you choose which alternative is going to make the most sense. Now, there's 3 criteria that Tesla should look at when they are choosing an alternative. First, it must align with Tesla's mission, which is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. You know, if the alternative doesn't align with the mission, then what's the point? They got to be able to be consistent. So it has to align with the mission. Next, it must balance the balance sheet. Must be able to be profitable, and there has to be a good ROI. You know, sure, it might take a lot of money in research and development, but there has to be a nice trajectory there to be able to make profit. And lastly, is does it have legs? And what I mean by that is that it has to be um, able to have options and for growth, uh, alternative to branch off into other possibilities, markets, or industries. Like so much like the solar road, where you can have that solar driveway and solar toll road, and have all these other possibilities that you can, you know, create other avenues for profit. Um, and if it meets all these three criteria, then I think it's an alternative that Tesla should really consider. Uh, well, that's my time. I appreciate you listening to me. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and talk to me. I'm going to turn the time over to Jordan. I hope you enjoy.